Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154, where we're on Siegfried line and we're following Flaming Burrito of the Daddy Clan in the Tier 8 French light vehicle, the Lynx 6x6. Now, Flaming Burrito's got an interesting combination of things going on here. He's managed to get his first mark of excellence already, but still stuck on the 75mm stock gun. Now this unfortunately puts them at a bit of a disadvantage. Not that they're not already at a disadvantage, they're being bottom tiered. I guess that's not so bad being bottom tiered as a light tank. I mean, in the days of yore, I'm pretty sure you could be a tier 5 light in a tier 10 game. But in any case, here we are. We've got a tier 8 light in a tier 9 game, and unfortunately they are stock. The top gun on this is a 90mm gun, and it's probably the only major advantage that Lynx 6x6 gets over the EBR-75 FL10, the premium vehicle. So it's great to see that in spite of the odds, in spite of the tiering, in spite of the equipment, Flaming Burrito is still able to make this tank work in this game. Currently there's a bit of a field deployment going on. We've got Flaming Burrito having played a bit closer to the city. I guess that has its relative advantages and disadvantages playing this position. The advantage being you're much better able to spot enemy vehicles that are approaching this hull down position. Although something like the Kampfpanzer 50T is able to play that position quite well. As we saw with a recently featured replay from Greatest Boy of the 101st Clan in their Kampfpanzer 50T in that very position. So I'm seeing a bit of a trend here. So there are a couple of difficult choices here that Flaming Burrito has got to make. They can stay here and they can keep trying to spot this Kampfpanzer 50T. No problem. The issue as I see it at this point in time is a lot of the teammates really don't have an angle to be able to shoot at the Kampfpanzer 50T. And that becomes a bit of a problem because if Flaming Burrito wanted to change positions and start trying to spot for whatever's in the field, and we know there's something in the field because they managed to spot this UDES 14.5 and an artillery shell's sort of been sent its way. But if Flaming Burrito were to drive from this position and go into sort of F1, F2, they'd just be able to be shot down by this Kampfpanzer 50T. Now the Kampfpanzer 50T, as we saw, it has quite a good turret armor profile. You're needing towards 300mm of penetration in order to punch through it. Now, granted, there's a little bit of armor differential on either side of the gun. But in any case, as the number of vehicles here, and probably along here as well start to stack up, it just makes rushing in there even less of an exciting prospect, particularly knowing there's probably an ELC of a 90 in there as well, just to mess them up. So it's a bit of a Mexican standoff going on here, where for whatever reason the Kampfpanzer 50T doesn't appear to be attracting fire, or at least effective fire. It's probably the optimal thing to do there would be for the artillery piece to try to dig them out, but we just weren't seeing a hell of a lot of shells flying down range. So with I suppose feeling minimal effect on that position, Flaming Burrito has elected to try a different flank, try a different approach. We can see there's a few enemy vehicles that are trying to contest the lakes area. The Rheinmetall Borsig Boffenträger having a bit of a poke, but was punished for a lot of hit points in the process. I suspect that was the ISU 152 that had nailed it the first time and ended up taking the kill. So that potentially opens up the zero line corridor. By and large, we've got Flaming Burrito's team is taking a bit of a sort of defensive heavy tank position on the southern side of the city, as is I guess customary for this side of the map to do. Is supported by sort of 2 to 3 grid squares behind by the tank destroyers, but obviously they're not going to try to push an offensive, certainly without enemy vehicles spotted and accounted for. We've had a bit of a swing and a miss against the Tier 9 Chinese medium tank, the WZ-120. Quite a strong turret in behind the rubble there, so we probably weren't expecting great things. So FlamingBurrito sending out the SOS and is going for a deep penetration here. With a lot of the enemy vehicles accounted for and anticipating the even 90s out in the field, we're hoping we can catch some isolated enemy vehicles that are running the back line. And here we are, we've managed to find this Scorpion G. FlamingBurrito has got the high explosive shells loaded that are able to punch through the relatively thin armor of the Scorpion with ease. And in spite of the rather light 75mm caliber gun, they're able to cut through that Scorpion G quite nicely. Just a series of effective hits there, proving that high explosive is still quite relevant in World of Tanks. Just pausing for a moment to catch the breath and make sure that FlamingBurrito is completely dark. We can now start to push out the flanking opportunities. We can see there's an enemy Motion and Object 705 that have occupied this area. Now, this is quite a good area for heavy tanks to defend, because you can just protect yourself from a whole host of different angles. The trick is, however, being able to protect yourself from those angles once they start adding up. Now, FlamingBurrito does have opportunities here to shoot the Motion and the Object 705, but the ability to damage these vehicles, probably not so much. Instead, we've started to go for the tracking shots, hoping to lock them in place there. I guess at the very least, knowing that there's an enemy vehicle in behind them that may force these heavy vehicles to start turning their turrets and taking their attention off the greater threat, and that could potentially allow FlamingBurrito's teammates to sort of push in as well. We've had another enemy vehicle come to try and dig FlamingBurrito out. This time around it's an Astron Rex. Had a very lucky evasion of a shot from the Object 705, which had caught the tyres. Now this engagement with Astron Rex is potentially going to be a little bit more challenging. This is a vehicle which has excellent rotational mobility coupled with a full 10 degrees of gun depression. But as we can see, FlamingBurrito has got the fast mode engaged. They're able to stay ahead of the rotation of Astron Rex's gun. Just looking for one more hit, and that comes from the Basante C45. They're able to knock out that particular threat. FlamingBurrito's team now on a 4-tank advantage. Have a slight advantage on the hit points, but not a huge one. I'd say a lot of those hit points are still in the Motion and the Object 705. That are still just hanging on there. We still have a few stragglers out in the field. I'm not quite sure what this guard was doing so far back when the ELC even 90 is presumably forward, and making life difficult for I suppose various vehicles that are in the south field. I guess if I were the ELC even 90, I'd have been a little bit frustrated at that point, given that they had pretty well complete visual control in that southern field. Although we have seen the enemy Su-130 PM has managed to knock out the Chinese heavy tank 112. FlamingBurrito taking a hit from the Object 705, high explosive shell as well. So that was that carried with it a bit of a repair bill. 705 has pushed out, and that puts them in under a bit of a crossfire between several vehicles there. Flaming Burrito included. It's now a one-shot. Unfortunately, Flaming Burrito unable to penetrate and get the kill on this particular instance. That honour going to the Basante C45. Guards crept forward again, so again Flaming Burrito with the high explosive shells loaded, going for, sorry, that was an AP shell that landed there, but switching to high explosive, and they're able to contribute rather heavily to the guard being shut down. Still 4 tanks the difference, but the hit point differential becoming a lot more profound. Their enemy is outnumbered by more than 2 to 1. Having said that, when you've got an enemy team that still has 2 tank destroyers and a light tank, that shouldn't be taken too lightly, pardon the pun, in that the light tank still has the ability to spot you, and the heavy tank, the tank destroyers still have the ability to snot you, and they will be playing with their backs to the wall, and that's one of those situations in which tank destroyers tend to excel when they are playing quite defensively. In this instance, we still haven't seen the ELC even 90, and Flaming Burrito has been able to identify the Rheinmetall Ballistic Waffenträger first, or at least its location. We have 4 of Flaming Burrito's teammates that can get into the fray with the Rheinmetall Ballistic. You can see it's hiding on the far side of this gun emplacement, so that might make it a little bit difficult for the tank destroyers to get a shot in from that position. And I dare say the Waffenträger probably knows it. It'll be setting up to put fire immediately on either side of that emplacement. Now this could be a little bit concerning for Flaming Burrito at this point in time. They're focusing predominantly on spotting the enemy rather than causing damage. We've had a swing and a miss, shell going into the ground there. Fortunately for the M103, the Rheinmetall Ballistic Waffenträger does appear to have been using the smaller gun, noting that it sort of caused maybe 550 hit points of damage. Flaming Burrito comes around the corner on the SU-130PM and sends it back to the garage. This just leaves the French Tier 8 Premium Light Vehicle, ELC even 90, left to deal with. Can Flaming Burrito shut him down for the 3rd kill of the game? We're auto-aimed in, just waiting for that opportunity. Unfortunately, that passes him by as the M103 knocks out the ELC even 90. So let's take a look at those results. So a well-deserved victory and a well-deserved Ace Mastery badge here for Flaming Burrito of the Daddy Clan in the Tier 8 French light vehicle Lynx 6x6. We haven't picked up any Epic or Battle Heroes medals here, but a nice selection of badges of merit. We've got the Spotter badge for causing at least 1,000 hit points of spotting assist damage on enemy vehicles with over 1,800 spotting assist inflicted. Also got the Bruiser medal for damaging enemy modules or crew members at least 5 times in the course of the battle. A lot of high explosive shells used here, so that will have a strong tendency to be able to tick those boxes and start wrecking modules and injuring crew members, particularly if you can get a penetrating hit with your high explosive. We've also picked up the Fire for Effect medal for damage exceeding the hit points of the vehicle, which at over 2,000 hit points of damage inflicted, that's more than enough to cover the tiny hit point pool of the Lynx 6x6. Having a look at the team scores, we've placed top by experience here despite being bottom tiered, so that was really well played there by Flaming Burrito. Special mention as well to Volkswagen Polo in the Scorpion G and Mad Monkey in the M103. Had a couple of standouts on the enemy team between the Object 705, which we saw defending its corner quite well, the ELC even 90, which pretty well kept the entire field at bay. They've collected 3,000 hit points of spotting damage in the course of this battle, and they were backed up by the SU-130PM as well, that was ultimately shut down there by Flaming Burrito. Having a look at the detailed report, this turned out to be quite a profitable game for Flaming Burrito with over 27,000 credits yielded. They're very nicely done there by Flaming Burrito of the Daddy Clan in the Tier 8 French Premium Light Tank. Panhard AML Lynx 6x6. This is a vehicle that we sort of indicated earlier. It's often outshined by its Tier 8 premium equivalent, so it's nice to see this game getting up and having a good game and a win. And if you've got a game that you'd like to share with the community through World of Tanks with PR154, please reach out over Discord or any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. Do have a look at the About section on this YouTube channel as well for just some of the general guidelines for what I'm looking for in community submitted replays. In the meantime, take care out there.